Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I'm not Spook.
Who are you?
Might be sometimes the Chief.
Okay, the Chief. Spooks Indisposed of the week. Collingwood Fremantle. What are they all talking? No, sorry, Collingwood Walyalup.
Okay.
Let's just get straight to what everyone's talking about. Is the umpiring decision?
Yeah, shocking, terrible, disgraceful. What more can you say about it?
Shockingly, the AFL's come out and ticked it off. Said that is the rule.
Yeah, and then supposedly, like yesterday, there were a few others that.
Hawthorn Brisbane, they missed a couple.
Yeah, they just missed a couple. No, it's logic. That's just logic. It's not wasting time. Don't waste time. They didn't waste time, and therefore you don't pay it.
A lot of, I don't know if you've seen the footage, there's an earlier ball up where side bottom sort of ends up with the ball.
Yeah, and I saw he was pissed off.
Yeah,
I saw that. I reckon he's had this shake of the head and he's, this thing. And when side bottom left the ball, left though.
And on X, there's a guy, has the umpire made a bad decision, that's his name, he's a former umpire, he sort of adjudicates decisions. And even he fucking shit on the decision by Nichols.
Yeah.
So that was actually interesting. And they've said it's not a mandatory free kick. It's like they can pay a free kick.
Yeah. I saw that when he's pissed off with side bottom. And then he was the one who paid. I thought, I wonder if it's a little payback.
Do you think, because I'm going to go hard in a minute, so is that responsible for the draw?
Is responsible for the draw? The umpires were responsible for the draw because there was another couple of goals directly related from free kicks, about 2 or 3 kicks before it got into that forward line and they took the mark. Pierce took and
there's about 10 minutes of pretty poor umpiring.
Yeah.
So you blame the umpires?
Yes. Not that one, but the umpires influenced the end of that game by giving free kicks that directly resulted in a goal. That one. And that pretty closely directly resulted in 2 others of their last 5.
I'm going to go the other way. That was a shit decision. And there was the umpiring was pretty rough for 10 minutes, but you're 25 points up with 7 minutes to go. You should not blow that lead, especially if you're a club who prides itself on its close finishes. Lockie Schultz had a shot when a fucking gimme when we're 25 points up, would have put it up to 5 goals. Missed. Frampton had a shot. Missed. When they were coming hard, so like when Nichols did that decision, it went from 19 to 13 points. There was I think Maynard took a mark on the half-back flank, turned it straight back over. There was a time where we were trying to get out of the fence, and it ended up on the wing, and Chapman for Fremantle basically took an uncontested mark overhead. And there was just so many times we fucked up where we could have buried that game, and we didn't bury it.
Bad kicking is bad football.
Well, that's the other thing.
As I keep telling my son, and 10-15 or whatever it is, missing, like you said.
Yeah, 10-15 to 11-9.
Easy peasy shots.
So
shouldn't have happened.
This is something I brought up, I've been bringing up the last couple of weeks, because it's happened the last couple of weeks too.
We're a shit last quarter team. But
there's a reason for that. And I know we've got a really young side, so credit to them and all that, but I was saying Collingwood Adelaide, so Spook had basketball obligations with his son. So he didn't get to see the last quarter, and he texted me, he goes, well, can we hold on? And I said, yeah, it reminds me of the qualifying final against Melbourne where we dominated the early part of the game and then just spent the rest of the game trying to repel them. And against Essendon, against Adelaide, and now against Fremantle, I don't know if they've just packed it in too early, but they've let the opposition just run rampant over him, and to me, it was like watching this Collingwood Fremantle or Walyalup team. Sorry, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I just don't know how to pronounce that. But watching it, it was just like, why have you fucking put the cue away?
Well, it's, as I said just before that, we've been shit in the last quarters. And the problem we've been shit in the last quarters is, you're right, we seem to be packing it in way too early. When Hawthorn lost Adelaide 2 weeks ago, they packed it in. They said, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And we're not playing, we're doing these passes left, right and centre, and it's just not the way that we've been playing for the rest of the match. And you're allowing the opposition to push at you.
Yeah. And I think McRae, the coach, made a mistake too he pushed Frampton forward.
Yeah.
And I know he was meant to be there because my check went out, so you want a key target. look, Frampton's not going to be Buddy Franklin going forward. You're basically just throwing him there to be a body going for the ball. I would have, if he was going to do that, I mean, the real lateral one would have been throwing Darcy Moore forward.
I would have thrown more forward.
But if
that's what I would have done.
That's what I would prefer to do. But if you were just going to say, look, all we need is a body up there to compete, I would have actually rather thrown Charlie Dean up forward and left the Frampton Moore partnership down back, because those two have been doing well since Frampton's coming in. So why are you breaking that up to leave Dean there with Moore when Frampton has the much better relationship?
The other options, I would have put Moore. The other option is put Pendles and let him out of the square.
Yeah, but his arm was just, I don't know.
But that's why, put Pendles there and let him go out of the square to put that body forward. Pendles is tall enough. He's a good mark. He wasn't doing anything around the ground because, like you said,
I don't know. He really looked like he couldn't use his arm at all. I mean, I'm actually surprised.
I don't know how bad it was, but that was the other option I was thinking about.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm waiting for an announcement that he's broken it and they're just keeping it quiet.
He had
There's a few times
his TBA on the website.
A few times when the ball was on the ground, you could see he could just not move that arm at all. So, and I'm curious because we had a lot of injuries with Myercheck and Cox. He had a bastard of a night.
Yeah. Oh, mate, he couldn't do anything.
He was like Latrine in Top Secret. He was just getting cleaned up whenever he went for it. Yeah, but I thought that was a tactical mistake. I don't know how unfit. I actually found it really interesting that Cameron and Cox were sharing the ruck, whereas generally Cameron predominantly does the ruck and Cox does the pinch hitting. Cox was doing a lot more of it, so I don't know if that was balancing loads for Cameron.
What I noticed, every time Cameron was out of the ruck, we got smashed in the clearances. So when what's his name went in the ruck, Frampton went in the ruck, we just getting smashed. And I get it, you're not going to get a tap, but I don't. And this is one thing that McRae doesn't do as well. He should coach that he's going to lose the ruck, but he doesn't. He's still coaching that he's going to win the ruck, and it's not. With Frampton there, you're not going to win the ruck. He's going to place a body, but most likely you're going to lose the ruck. So what you should be coaching is around, I'm going to lose the ruck, and there's going to be stuff that's going to their advantage. So I've got to make sure that I'm coaching around that. And he's done that a few times, actually, that he hasn't changed his tactics around the ball to say that he's losing the ruck. Now, I'm not the coach, but that I noticed. And we just got done 6-0 or something every time it was out of the ruck.
And I've backed Frampton, saying put him in before bloody McRae did, so I should be the coach. But I actually thought, again, big tactical error to move Frampton into the ruck. Yeah. Now, again, I don't know.
Well, you need a ruck, though, so you got to put. Who would you put?
Look, I don't know what Cameron's fitness is at. I don't know if they'll just. Because he didn't play that much in the ruck.
You're right. You could have just let him run and run.
Generally, like when you watch, it's like Cameron does about 85% and Cox does about 15%. In that game, they're going to about 50-50 until Cox went down.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. It would have left him.
So I don't know if they were going, look, because of training, game loads and all that, we're not trying to play him as much. And then once Cox went down, it was like, well, let's not put more time on Cameron, because if he goes down, we have no ruckman left, because all four of them, or three of the four are down.
Ben's out for the season now. So.
Yeah, and Steen's also out.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if they were looking at it and going like, well, we can't risk this. But again, the Frampton move was really mystifying to me. I thought it was like a really, really bad move to take one of the few things that was working in the side, which is the defensive partnership, the defensive tandem between Moore and Frampton, and break that up. When, again, I would have even thrown Dean into the ruck and just said, look, we know you're not going to win it, as you've said. Just go defensive. Go run into him a few times.
Well, the other option they could have done is put Sidebottom out of the square. And that's what I'm saying. Put Sidebottom out of the square. You didn't need the big man to play in the forward line. They didn't need that. So they stuffed up all the balance and how they were going so well in the back by doing that. It's basically what you said.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Put Pendles or they could have put Sidebottom. They could put a smaller player, more mobile, to run out of there.
Yeah, look, I agree.
And play with... And just play with, you're not bombing it. Play with it so you're trying to run it through.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to blame the umpiring. The umpiring was shit, but I don't want to blame that, because I think there's a lot of mistakes tactically. I think there was a lot of mistakes positionally. I know we had no one left on the bench effectively. Pendlebury had to come on. I bet this turns out to be a broken arm. the way he was struggling to move, and they're just not announcing it because they've announced all these other injuries today. But I bet this turns out to be a fracture. That's just a guess. I don't know anything, but
I'll be coach. You're right. I'll just be watching Cheers, so I don't know if you remember the coach. Not that coach, the coach in Cheers,
Well, So, but I just think they fucked it up positionally. They fucked it up psychologically in going, because they dominated the first.
And not part of they played excellent to that point. So I'm not saying that, the youngsters were fantastic in terms of being able to hold up. What they said, we had 6 players under 10 games. Great to hold up and the way they did it, but we dropped the bundle in that second half of that last.
That's my concern is they've done that
last quarter.
Now against Adelaide and did it against Essendon. I mean, the Essendon one still mystifies me. They were 1 point up and they said, well, let's play keepers off for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But this actually, for a team who prides itself on closing out games, to actually end with that as a result, and I know what people say, hey, well, 2 points is, and that's what McRae said in the press conference, this draw is better than, or 2 points is better than nothing.
It's not as good a football.
No, well, that's the thing, is you look at it so now, the other thing too is...
we lost, we drew that.
Having that draw, having that one draw took percentage out of the equation, because it meant we're always going to be 2 points above or below whoever. But now having 2 draws means we're now back on the same timetable as everyone else. So I found that interesting. I saw Caroline Wilson talking, going back to the umpiring decision. She was saying, I don't want to... This is me paraphrasing, so if I get it wrong, it's not her fault, it's my fault. But she was saying that effectively there's a frustration with the umpiring fraternity about the way Collingwood play. And I think it's the way they keep sort of forcing ball ups and stoppages when the game's close. And she said, I'm not saying that's the cause, but she intimated that...
That's the cause.
Well, maybe that's why Nichols gave away that free, because he was just sick of Collingwood sort of closing it up, and here's another ball up, and here's a ball up.
Yeah, but you can fix that very simply by paying... And this is the whole thing about holding the ball, and...
does that rule still exist?
The coaches that were out there, Voss and they were out there saying... It's true. You can actually fix the ball up issue very simply using existing rules that are in the game and pay holding the ball. You can't do a 360 spin and handball it. You can't hold it for that long when you get tackled. If you get tackled and it drops out of your hands, it's dropping the ball. Pay them, and then what'll happen? You won't get the scrum. It's not hard. It's not hard, AFL. It's not hard. Pay holding the ball and dropping the ball, and you won't have all these things again and again and again.
I've been saying for 100 years.
It's
frustrating. And I hate, you go back a couple of weeks ago where Joe Richards tackled Mark Keane in the Adelaide game and the ball just spilled out of his hands. And people go, well, you didn't have prior. It's so you can just drop it.
It doesn't... So
that's what I hate. The prior fucks up a lot of things.
But the prior came in later after the rule that was if you incorrectly dispose of the ball and drop it, or if you can... It is dropping the ball. That was the original rule back when I was a little kid. If you incorrectly dispose it, it's dropping the ball or throwing the ball or whatever. The prior came in, 10, 15 years ago. If you had prior opportunity.
What I'm saying, I 100% agree with you. What I'm saying is, though, that fucking prior has fucked up the interpretation because a lot of people run around going, well, you didn't have prior. So then it's okay to drop it or throw it, apparently. It's like,
it's incorrect disposal.
I agree, but they don't pay that. It's like when they had the hands in the back.
Yeah.
And then people were going, you'd see players. I remember fucking Satento Halpern for Carlton. Just gave someone, I think it was pretty sure it was him.
The elbow in the back instead.
Yeah, and just shoved him 48 feet. And they're going, well, it's okay, he didn't use his hands. It's still a fucking push in the back.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't even know what their own rules are. They don't know what the qualifications of their rules are.
The rules... It's hard to umpire, but the rules are simple, is the way I say it.
I don't think it's that hard to umpire.
No, it is, because...
I reckon the bigger problem is not the... Look, umpires going to make mistakes because allegedly they're human. The bigger problem is the AFL fucks with interpretations from game to game.
It's AFL's fault.
And you know what the AFL should say, and I've said this for fucking 4 billion years, is, you know what, I hate all these qualifications on umpiring. I hate when there's a blatant free and they go, we'll take a brave umpire to pay that because it's right in front of goal. Or toward the end of a close game, or they put the whistles away. Why? Why are the rules now different? Because it's a tight game close to the end. The AFL should be coming out and saying to the umpires, you pay fucking rules. You pay decisions, whether it's minute 1 or minute 100. You pay it if it's there.
Yeah, because then if the coaches know, and this is, with the coaches over the weekend, Voss and all that, if the coaches know that this is what you're going to pay, they'll coach around it. So if the coaches know you're going to pay incorrect disposal, they'll say, make sure you grab it and you don't get rid of it, or try and kick it, or whatever the case is. So you're blaming Caro and all that, are blaming Collingwood. No, it's not Collingwood's fault. That's the rules of the game. It's your fault for not paying incorrect disposal or holding the ball or whatever the case is. Pay that and you won't get the scrum. It's simple. It's a simple thing.
You said the volatility in the rules, because there's been times, for example, Friday night game, there wasn't many holding the balls paid. A Saturday game will now have every holding the ball paid. Yeah. It's like, so you've compensated over one day. And this is what I keep saying, is the AFL should be saying to umpires, you pay the decisions when they're there.
They should just say, here's the rule book. Pay that. So, incorrect disposal. If you don't handball or kick the ball, it's incorrect disposal. Pay that. It's in the rule book. It's like, we've got to go the laws or whatever laws there are. It's there. It's in black and white. Regulations. It's in black and white. Pay the black and white.
Did you see Aaron Norton from Bulldogs and the knee injury?
I didn't see it, no.
I actually think that's a result. So Melican from Sydney tackled him and grabbed him and sort of threw his leg out. Not to trip him, but just sort of to block him. And it was like, what I saw it as is Melican's done that to sort of lock him into position, so there's no sling and he can't force a sling. So he's basically like done the mixed martial arts movement. I'm not bagging Melican, but I reckon that's a compensation for let's try and get away from the sling and all that sort of shit. So he's tackled him in a different way, which has resulted in Norton's knee injury. And I reckon you're going to see that a lot more, because whenever the AFL fuck with the rules, there's always these schisms and then other things start occurring.
There was a couple of weeks ago, who was it, where they got tackled, the actual player dived
head
first into the ground, and they said it was like a sling
the Carlton suck.
Carlton and whoever it was, and he got a free kick out of it.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that shouldn't have been. The dude jumped forward basically to get that free kick, and they talk about the players. That's his. If he got injured, it's his fault. It's not the tackles. The tackle was fine.
Well, it's ridiculous too that you're saying that. Look, and we talked about this the other week. But you're effectively saying, well, the outcome now determines whether there'll be a penalty. So you tackle someone, and it's a bad sling tackle, but it doesn't hit his head, so you're off. But this one hit his head and he's concussed.
Intent doesn't matter. So intent doesn't matter. I tackled him, he got concussed. Well, wait a minute. I didn't tackle him for him to get concussed. I just tackled him.
Well, that's the thing we're talking about. Like, you go back to the McCreary when he was kneed in the jaw. Well, then by your determination, and I'm not saying this should be suspendable, but under the AFL's determination of, well, there was contact here and it hit him in the head and it concussed him, that should be punishable
to me, it's intent.
No, I agree, but that's...
it's all about intent.
But they're all... AFL's just looking at an outcome. An outcome determines the penalty, and it also will determine how long the penalty will be. So a bad concussion, he's out for 4 weeks. Whereas, it's a so
It's
concussion.
like, was it Parker in Sydney who took out the guy in the reserves. I think the guy broke his jaw, went to hospital, got 6 weeks. If he didn't break his jaw and if he didn't go to hospital, he probably would have got 3.
Yeah.
And so now you're paying the outcome and not the intent. So the intent was always to wreck the guy, because it was way off the ball and all the rest of it. So if you pay the intent, that'll stop rather than if you pay the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I always said it annoys me that the AFL hasn't accepted. And I know why they do it, because they're worried about all the Auss kick parents, particularly the Auss kick mums who are going, I don't want my kid going into this, it's too violent. But you should accept that, guys that are 80, 90, 100 kilos running full pace at each other, making split millisecond decisions, may occasionally unwittingly hurt each other. But now it's like, no, we're trying to take all the hurt out of the game. So it means that, it's like players going for marks and one knocks the other one out. Well, that's punishable now. You knock the other guy out. It's like, well, it's just fucking going for the ball, which is what I've been taught. But the AFL trying to take all this out. And ultimately, what's going to happen in about, 12 months, is it'll turn into Gaelic football. Well, they'll really just qualify tackles as like, well, you can't have anything violent. I mean, Gaelic doesn't have anything.
They'll lose a lot of people watching it if it goes too far down a pathway. And they'll say, the people are going now, and we've got record crowds, and it's justifying what it is, which is, you say yes, but then it depends on how far you're going to go.
The record crowds, because I know they always make that fucking argument, and it's like, geez, the national sport which you televise on all these bloody channels, and it's getting big crowds. What a shock. You must be doing a great fucking job. You know, and the other thing that kills me too, and just sort of fast forwarding, is they're going to bring Tasmania. I'm not bagging Tasmania, but they're not bringing a 20th club in from wherever it's going to be. I can tell you, like, several years ago, it was meant to be Wellington, but that's probably not going to happen now. But you're bringing in 20 clubs. You know, watching the last few weeks of football, what these games really miss is a couple more fucking games. I mean, it's like watching Disney Star Wars. Can you give me enough mediocrity so I can really tune in? I barely watch any of the games now. Like, I'll actually be doing work or some shit, and I'll just watch the scoreboard. I go, it's close. Let me go fucking check it out. Thumbs up to KO, because I went to check out the Port Hawthorn game the last couple of minutes. By the time KO booted up, thank you for loading up the fucking menu from 12 weeks ago. Having to backstep out of that, then being told, do you want to leave the fucking app? It's like, no, I just want to get to your front page. And then finally getting the Hawthorn Port game and then putting it on. They were celebrating. That is the worst fucking interface in the history of interfaces.
Here's a question.
You can only imagine that Apple owns it.
Are they going to have bye rounds next year? So when Tasmania's in, they've got 19 teams. Are they going to have these bodgy bye rounds, or it's just going to be you're going to get a bye because you're not playing that week?
I don't know. I never know why they have bye rounds. We talked about it last week. Is seeing these fucking... There's a pandemic of bloody soft tissue injuries.
Yeah,
jeez, could it be because all these teams are getting 5 and 6 day breaks? You're sending them fucking all over the country.
It's Thursdays. There's so many Thursday games. It's
ridiculous. There's so much rotation. Like I was saying, like prior to the Anzac Day game, why didn't they give Collingwood and Essendon the bye the week before, since the game was going to be on a Thursday, so it was always going to be a really difficult one to juggle?
Yeah.
Why not give them the bye the week before, so they both have a bye going into that? That would seem the logical thing, but instead, and you see it a lot. There's a lot of games I've seen where a team's coming off a 5-day break and they just look really flat.
Yeah.
And getting all those soft tissue injuries, and you get this fucking farcical organisation who's like, oh, well, we've got to cap rotations and this because we're trying to protect the welfare of the player, and yeah, go play 3 games in 12 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going massively off track. Ed Allen debuted.
He did.
Have you seen anything? What do you think?
Yeah, it's okay. What I think, he was taller than I thought. He's actually a bigger body than I thought he was. That's the first time I've seen him. So it was actually a bigger body, and I thought he did okay.
Yeah, I thought I'm not bagging him as a prospect, but I thought it was one of the most underwhelming debuts I've seen. He just looked like way off the pace of the game.
Yeah.
I
wasn't expecting much.
Well, you got less. I haven't asked you, or I haven't had a chance to ask you this, so I've been going on about this for a while. Lockie Schultz, where does he sit in the Collingwood pantheon of, or what do you see him as a performer?
Overpaid? We overpaid for him? We overpaid for him.
Yeah.
But so, what do you mean? Where does he sit in the...
watching... I mean, he's actually saved, well, not he's saved himself, but circumstances saved him. Watching that game, I was thinking, and I had Dorska actually text me also, and totally agreed with him. It was like Harvey Harrison and Joe Richards have just gone past him.
Yeah, like Harvey Harrison, I thought was really good.
Harvey Harrison was really good. Like he's got sure hands. He knows how to feature in it.
Knows where to be.
Yep. Joe, but I was looking at like if you had Jamie Elliott fit too, who's the one who misses out of those smaller players?
You'd think Joe Richards.
He's better to me. He's
I know. But I'm just saying, you'd think that's what it is. He needs to step up. I never saw him at Freo because I don't watch Freo. But
nobody does except for
umpire
Nichols.
But they would have had to think of something that he's got something in it, but he hasn't shown much, and what we paid for him was just way overs.
He's meant to be a tackle machine, so he got like 95 tackles last year from the home and away season.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And no, I haven't seen that either. McCreary only had like about 86 or something. He played the finals and shit. Watching him, like I look at him and think, okay, if you're not tackling, what's your contribution?
You got to kick goals.
Yeah, but it's like you don't have like the X factor of like a Medhurst. You don't have the sublime skills of a Didac. You don't have the pace of a Leon Davis.
Even McCreary. McCreary's got pace. That's why he's there. He's tackling, but he's got pace. So he's got, you know. So,
but I'm looking at him going, what do you bring? You just seem competent at things, but apparently you can tackle a lot.
But doesn't he kick like 40 goals plus in the last couple of years of Freo?
No, nowhere near it. I don't have the figures on hand, but there's nowhere near it.
Oh, I think he has.
I don't think... I'll get my phone and check.
I'll take that on notice.
I can put up a message. No, like I'm 68% sure he doesn't.
All right.
Do you have a phone on you?
No.
No. Yeah, no, it's his tackling pressure. He's got... Fremantle hasn't even kicked 40 goals in the season. The last couple of years. What do you think of 40? Yeah, I actually... Yeah, I don't care who they trade for, but as the...
Oh, man, they traded a first-round draft pick for him. That's what I care about. And it's ridiculous. Like...
Let me ask you this.
I thought first-round draft picks were actually worth
for first-round players,
for guns, but they're not.
No. Well, let me ask you something. I mean, Collingwood has this fucking penchant for getting rid of first-round draft picks.
I don't know what they're doing.
So they got rid of that one. They got rid of 2 for Beams. They got rid of 2 for Treloar. They traded 1 in that Nick Dacos draft and got 2 picks in the 20s, which ended up being Liam McMahon and Caleb Poulter, who are both gone. So you've wasted those draft picks also. Should there be a mandate at the club to stop fucking... Unless you get like someone like, you know... Like, I don't know, fucking... Luke Parker from Sydney who can't get a game at the moment.
Well, I assume with Schultz, they figured, all right, we're going to be up the top again. There's going to be this, that first round is pick 20 or whatever the case is. And so, is he worth a pick 20? And there's some back end picks. Is he worth pick 20? Well, I don't even think he's worth pick 20.
No, I don't think he's...
Do
you think he's better than Paul Medhurst?
No.
And Paul Medhurst has steak knives in the fucking in the trade for Chris Harris.
But it's not the same anymore. It's just different these days. Treloar. So let's go back to a few. Treloar was okay, I think, for the 2 first rounders.
I mean, that was a mistake
at the time.
But I think the thing with Treloar though was it was like that was when the future first rounders are coming in, and they gave up a pick 7 and the future first rounder.
Yeah. And
Collingwood, I think, were thinking, well, that future first rounder would be pick 15 or something.
Yeah.
And it turned out being pick 7 because that was shit.
It's the same with Dacos when they gave up for Nick Dacos. Yeah. You know, so their judgment on future rounds are poor. The Beams one, that was stupidity. And not even the fact that we didn't get anything out of him. I just wouldn't have done...
The due diligence on Beams is pretty poor.
Yeah, due diligence on Beams is poor, and I still wouldn't think he was worth the 2 first rounders to get him back. That was this Eddie Maguire, romance thing that he wanted to bring him back, whatever the case was.
Buckley probably had a bit more to do with
it,
but
just that was not.
Oh, look, you lost the grand final, and your fullback was a halfback flanker in Goldsack, and your centre halfback was Tom Langdon. And I know they picked up Jared Ruffhead, and I would have went. I think Steve May should be the priority. Let's go try and steal him. Or another...
Yeah, let's get another midfielder instead.
Yeah, so I understand like Beams was sort of elite, but like the due diligence, and we've talked about this off camera where he was pulling out of games, late withdrawals. There were sort of question marks about his motivation and that, and so you would have thought
issues in the rooms before and after games.
And same with Lockie Schultz. Graham Wright has this fantastic reputation, but to me, it's like his reputation is a little bit embellished at Collingwood. Because he just gets things done. And it's like, oh, hey, that's great. We love someone who gets things done. But it's like you're paying overs to get these things done. I would have rather they just sort of said to Fremantle, oh, look, here's pick 30. You don't want it. Fuck it. We're going.
We're not hard-ass enough in some of these, I think, over the last few years.
In all of these things.
In negotiating. So I can't literally say in the last 3 or 4 years where I think we got a bargain in the draft.
No, I can't say
that. And you're going to say, people will say, oh, we got 4 players last year, Moneyball, this and that. Yeah, but they're role players. They're
Hill's got like potential to be a lot better.
Hill, but we got Markov and we got Frampton.
Mitchell, Markov,
Mitchell. Well, Mitchell, mate, let's be serious. We got rid of Grundy for Mitchell in the end. He's roughly speaking what the trade. Was Grundy worth a Mitchell? No. I wouldn't think so.
Oh, well, I mean, from what Nathan Buckley said, that they wanted to get rid of Grundy years early, and Eddie overruled them.
Yeah.
And that would have actually
solved you got 2 first rounders, early first rounders back then.
That would have solved a lot of issues in list management, keeping you up, getting access to better talent. I mean, that's what the
draft. You want to go back to Adelaide offered 2 first rounders in
2019
or 20 or
they should have been... I mean, and we've talked about this, but the thing I hate there is... Right, none of us in the public knew how bad the salary cap was. Internally, you guys knew, And you should have been proactive in trying to ease the pressure rather than having to do a fire sale and then all the clubs sort of sitting back going, well, they have to get rid of them, so you're just going to have to fucking take whatever scraps we offer.
And we're going to have to pay, like we still do, Grundy's $300,000 or whatever we're paying for it.
So I found that really, really disappointing. But, I mean, we've talked about that ad nauseum. In terms of the Schultz, you know, someone made a really good point on the message board, and she just said that, you know, if you're thinking like you're saying, I'm going to get rid of the first rounder, the second rounder, who would the names be that you think it could measure it with that? And Schultz wouldn't have been anywhere near that.
No, it wouldn't counted.
So it's really disappointing. Any final thoughts about this draw?
It's crap.
It's crap. Playing Bulldogs on Friday night.
Yes.
So the club has announced, I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I haven't.
Right, so this is what the club's announced today. Mycheck's out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
DeGoey's out for another 4 weeks.
Is that one of our Collingwood hamstrings that...
He's got an abdominal strain or something. Joe Richards is out for 4 to 6 weeks.
How did that one happen?
Some foot-related thing. And Mason Cox is out for 6 weeks.
Okay.
So those 4 are announced. I'm betting Pendlebury's going to be announced later in the week.
Yeah. I agree. Pendles will go.
So going into that Fremantle game, I was like, Mycheck's back, so we're getting a little bit of experience. At least McCreary's back. Outside of Joe Richards, you got 3 out of 4 plus men. The guy who already wasn't playing. But you're losing all this experience. They're now down in Ruckman. They don't have another one to come up, so it'd have to be Ash Johnson or Kruger playing that pinch hitting ruck. There's nothing really in the VFL outside of...
No.
You know, I think Ed Allen will get dropped. Finlay McRae will probably have to get another look in. But and that Harry Di Martia, I think, is miles off it because he's just only started playing last few weeks. The concerns with the injuries?
Yeah. Who wouldn't be?
So, we're sort of entering a month of football of games that, you know, we should have been likely to win, but now we're really exposed with the lack of...
We've got Dogs, we've got Melbourne, and we've got North, I think, in the last... and a bye over the next month. So, you could pencil in North, but the other two, you can't be confident that we'll win those two.
And Bulldogs have actually been pretty good the last 3 weeks. When it looked like...
That's what I'm saying. You can't be confident with that. Yeah. They've played well the last 3 weeks.
So, what do you... I mean, I don't even know who's going to come in. The mid-season draft will come in next week, I think. It was a week after. But that's not going to be a ready-made solution. The injury list is really long. There's guys like Carmichael and that who are under fitness tests.
Well, you'd have to think... You'd have to play... McInnes would have to come back in.
Yep.
To play up forward, to be a Mycheck replacement. You think that's just a given? It's going to be done?
I think it'd have to be...
I think your Frampton or Charlie Dean would have to be your pinch hit ruck, is the way I'd play it. McGuinness in the front, and you probably put McRae in is probably the other one.
Well, the one I'd probably look at is Ash Johnson playing the pinch hitting ruck and playing forward. I reckon that Kruger might get a look in. I hope they don't, because I think he's just... The other thing that annoys me with Kruger is like...
Is he actually playing in the reserves?
Yeah.
Okay. He
was held over a couple of weeks ago. He's actually emergency when Ash Johnson wasn't, and he's only been playing like 2 weeks. Kruger, they've brought up several times when he's just not ready. And then, you know, he's had like injuries, he's come back really prematurely, and then fans will go, he's not up to it. It's like, well... You know,
you reckon you got to put in Johnson, McGuinness?
I think Johnson has to play, and I think Johnson, someone has, I don't know, fucking Lepich or whoever, someone has to say to him, mate, you're fucking playing for your spot here. We need you. You need to fucking have the game of your life. I mean, the guy has all the talent in the world, but he looks, I don't want to say lazy, but he looks like he's not quite aware of what it requires to play AFL football, but it's like run. You know, giving us one league, great. Now maybe give us 2, 3, 4, 5.
And once it hits the deck, he just gives... It seems he just gives it up.
Yeah.
You know, he makes a bit of a lunge, and then once it's over, it's over. That's like you said, he's got all talent. My biggest issue with him, once he hits the deck, he seems like he's just useless.
Yeah, in terms of fitness, and you know, he's been in the VFL for the whole year outside of the first couple of games. There's not really a lot of options. They can't really even go for someone left field. You know, it's not like there's some guy who's sitting there in 2 VFL games. Unless they bring up that Harry Di Martia, like I said. but I think they surely got to play Finley McRae. They surely got to bring McInnes back if he's cleared concussion protocols. But they're still two relatively young and experienced guys. And then of those guys in the VFL, I think Johnson's the most experienced. Unless they go for a double whammy and go, you know, fuck it, let's just play Johnson and Kruger and maybe play one as a sub.
Oh, maybe, but you need an impact player as a sub. You can't put someone like that as a sub. So you'd have to put McInnes in, you'd have to put McRae in, and then it just depends on who the other person would be. I mean, is there any of other injuries going to come back?
I think a few of them are under tests.
Okay.
But, you know, again, what are we on? It's Monday, so Tuesday when you watch this, so there's still 3-4 days to lose some more players. Like I said, I reckon Pendle's
will be gone. I reckon Pendle's be gone. So therefore you got 4 players to replace. So, yeah, we're
5. I can't imagine they're going to play at Allen again.
You'd have to. You got no one else to play. You know, we're starting to get to Brisbane levels and Richmond levels of injuries.
I saw McRae speak and he said I can't remember this, but Richmond played 39 players and Collingwood had played 33. This is prior to last week, so you've got others coming in.
Ones. That's what I'm saying. We're going to get to the Richmond level of injuries that are there.
Thanks, AFL.
Well, thanks AFL for those 3 games in 13 days and 6-day breaks and all the rest of it.
And also you got I can't imagine it's a coincidence that both Collingwood and Brisbane finished the season last year, have to come back after a shorter turnaround, and they're both suffering a lot of injuries.
And they played round 0.
Fucking round 0. What a fucking
round 0.
Your tip for the game?
I tip Collingwood.
How much?
By 1 point. Collingwood by single digits because we can't seem to beat anyone of any depth of decency by more than 10 points.
Smash Port Adelaide. I'll see you're full of it now. I'll tip Collingwood by 13 points.
All right.
Any final thoughts?
Yes. So my final thought got nothing to do with the football, but it's got to do with the club. Now, get rid of the scarves for members. 4 years, membership department, you're done. Go back to the cap. See this cap here? This is from 2000. I've got young kids, and I'm sure there are other kids that have got young that are members of Collingwood. They do not have a membership cap. All right? You wear caps. You don't wear scarves. You don't wear scarves to the footy because basically we play night games and my kids don't go to the footy because by the time they get home it'll be midnight. The amount of day games you go in there, you'd wear a cap because it might be sun more than you wear a scarf. Then, when it's during the week, you wear a cap. You don't wear a scarf. So, Collingwood membership department, caps next year, please. I know you're probably organising it now. What the hell am I going to do with 5 scarves? Let's be serious. What the hell do you do with all these scarves? Caps have uses, scarves don't. So, go back to the caps.
Okay, thanks.
You asked last thoughts. That was my last thought.
It's Collingwood. On top of that, I'd just like to say, unexplored realm. Let's go for some Collingwood cravats. No one else is doing them.
Something. If it's not a scarf, it's not a cap. Do something else. But how many scarves can people have?
Apparently not enough.
No, too many.
Anyway, that's it from us. We'll see you later.
Peace out.